Hi. So if you're just getting here, you guys can grab a weight. If you're new to strength training, somewhere between 10 and 15. If you're somewhat comfortable, used to strength training a little bit, then 20 to 25. Okay. If you brought a water bottle or a canteen, now's a good time to fill it up. So that we will have a couple small breaks where we'll break for water, but so that everyone's not leaving the class and getting in line. So it's not too long of a break. I'm gonna drink some water. So I feel like, yeah. So I feel like I'm just gonna disconnect every time I forget the device because I feel like and repair. So that's what I'm doing now, and I think I'm connected. Yep, that's it. That's me. Yeah. So we'll get started in about a minute or so. We'll just give 7:03. We'll give the remaining people that have signed up a couple more minutes since it's been pretty bad weather and the trains are a little messed up, I think. Yeah. I have a feeling some people will come in late, but that's okay. I don't want to waste your guys' time and want to make sure we finish on time. How many people are here for the first time? All right, awesome. Welcome. My name is Dennis. I've been with No Name now for my 4th year, and I've been part of the NYC marathon training here in New York City for the last decade. I spent 6 years pacing the 3-hour group with Nike, then did the same thing here for a few years, and now I've transitioned out of pacing and just focus on strength training. I work at Resilience Physical Therapy. I'm first as a trainer and a therapist, and I've recently started doing more classes for runners. Primarily, my focus is prehab, making sure that people don't get injured in the first place, so they never have to put their training on hold and freak out and like, oh my god, can I just still do the marathon? I always like to stay ahead of the injury, particularly for first timers. Those are typically the people that get injured the most because their body is not used to all this new activity, and there's whole lot of stresses with your full-time job and your relationship and traveling and all this stuff. So I like to spend just a couple minutes doing some mobility work. Then we'll go through four rounds of 2 rounds of 4 different exercises of a jumping exercise and a core exercise. We'll take a little break. And then we'll go through 4 rounds of 3 exercises, take a little break, and then 4 rounds of 3 exercises. We use the weights for most of the exercises. So for about 4 out of the 6 exercises, we'll be utilizing the weights. And then we'll have, if I'm not mistaken, 2 exercises where it's mostly just body weight, but hopefully it'll be challenging enough. This is not going to be your typical HIIT class where we're constantly running around and jumping and sweating. Again, this is more kind of like a slightly more advanced rehab. Just again, making sure that you don't get hurt in the first place. Again, if this is your first marathon, you want to minimize the risk of injury as much as possible. Okay, so we'll get started, and I like to always start in a kneeling position. So we're just gonna sit on our heels with the feet flat. Okay, hopefully you might feel a little bit of a stretch on the top of the ankle, the shins, maybe even the knees or the hips if you lean back enough. Okay, I always like to start off with the foot and ankle. It's the first point of contact with the ground when we're running, often overlooked, and with our heavily cushioned shoes, they don't get a chance to wiggle and move around as much as they should. So I want to prevent things like tendonitis in the big toe or a post-tib tendonitis, and that's like pain on the inside arch, the calves. I see some nodding. Okay, I've been there. All right, and then we're gonna come up, curl the toes beneath you, and then sit back on the heels again. Now we're stretching the big toe. Maybe you feel something on the sole of the foot in that arch area. Okay, sometimes that big toe can get a little stuck. Again, if you're always wearing that cushioned shoes and it doesn't get that flexibility. So we're just gonna go back and forth a couple more times. We'll go 8 more times back and forth. Okay, some people can't handle that stretch quite so easily, so it takes time. Again, this is how I like to start off pretty much every class that I do. I like to get in a kneeling position and work the big toe, work the ankle, stretch the top of the foot. Sometimes if you have a plantar fasciitis, that this stretch can feel really nice on the top of the foot. Okay, if you have any sort of tendon issues on the top of the foot, again, sometimes you tie your shoes too tight, that can provoke some injury on the top of the foot. It can feel unpleasant. So stretching the top of the foot in that position is great. And if you're not able to do that, if you're at work or something, or sometimes I'm out on a run, I'll just stand up against the wall and just press my foot down like that so I can stretch the top of the foot. Okay, so that's one that I like to do. From here, we're gonna get to the edge of one mat. You're gonna extend one leg out to the side. The knee is gonna be straight. You're gonna sit back on your heels and then turn the leg out. You should feel the stretch on the inner thigh. Okay, and you can actually place your hands in front of you, and then we're just gonna rock back and forth. Okay, again, I don't like to do too much static stretching unless it's like at the end of the day, after a run, after a workout. Before any exercise, I like to do having some movement with these stretches, this dynamic stretches. So you're just sitting back. Again, the toes point away from you, come forward, then the big toe meets the mat again, back and forth. Does anyone not feel this in the inner thigh? See some faces that they're feeling the stretch. Okay. All right. All right, 2 more, and then we can switch sides. All right, inner thigh. Okay, and switching sides now. If at any point during tonight you feel something that doesn't feel right, you let me know. We can come up with a modification, or maybe I need to explain more clearly so that you get the most benefit from each movement, from each suggestion. Again, my goal is always to attack the injuries before they happen. So everything that I recommend is something that I would recommend to an athlete with some sort of injury, whether it's an Achilles injury, IT band, runner's knee, some hip injury. So these are all exercises with some injury in mind. All right, we'll just do 2 more. And then we're gonna continue with 2 exercises from here. So now we're gonna go into a downward dog cobra. Okay, so starting from a tabletop position, the knees are shoulder width apart, the hands are flat on the floor, and the wrist, elbow, and shoulder are in line. You're gonna push away from the mat, try and reach the heels to the mat. If it's too hard, then you can try just one knee at a time. So one knee bends, one knee straightens, one knee bends, one knee straightens. And then we're going to come down and then look up over your shoulder on the right side. When you look over your right shoulder, try and look at your left heel. So you're really feeling that stretch behind the ear. And then you're looking over your left shoulder, try and find the left heel. Feel that stretch behind the left ear. All right, and we can do that 4 more times. Again, tabletop position, downward dog. One knee bends, one knee straightens, one knee bends, the opposite straightens, and then back down into a cobra. Look over the right. Look over the left. You're only picking up the chest as high as feels comfortable. So if this is too uncomfortable for you, you can get a little bit lower. Rest your forearms on the mat and then just look over from here. Okay, don't feel like, again, there are always modifications because not everyone is as flexible as everyone else. Not everyone's as strong as everyone else. So there's always going to be some modification for where you're at. Okay, we're going to cycle through these two just 2 more times. Downward dog, one knee bends, the opposite straightens, one knee bends, the opposite straightens. Cobra, look over the right, look over the left. Okay. Yeah, you can find any. If you need to put your stuff away, there's cubbies there, just so you know. Yeah, right over there. Yep, and you can just grab one weight, one 15-pounder, I think. Okay, we're just gonna go through 2 more mobility exercises. We're, again, from this tabletop position, we're gonna do some hip cars. If you've been here before, you might have done this before. So again, from that tabletop position, we're gonna extend one leg back, rotate the hip away from the floor so that the knee is pointing around about 90 degrees, and it's gonna come around. It's like a big hip circle, out, around. We're gonna go one more, extend, rotate the leg away from the floor, bring around, and now we're gonna go in the opposite direction, and that's out to the side, point the knee down, bring it around. Out to the side as high as you can, rotate the knee to point down, and then bring it around. We'll do one more on that side. Out to the side, pointing to the wall or window, point the knee down, bring it around. Now we'll do the opposite side now. I'm just gonna walk around to see if anyone needs any help, but everyone looks really good. Getting that knee to point to the wall, to the side of you. Excellent. Big hip circle. Yep. You got it. So it's just 3 one way, 3 the opposite way. Okay. I should really feel that in the hips. All right. I think we're just about done. Last one we're gonna do here. Deep lunge. Place the right hand inside of the left foot. Pick up the back knee. You're gonna rotate your chest towards that front leg. Reach for the ceiling. Then lower that left shoulder inside of that left leg and look away. And then rotate towards that front leg again. Reach for the ceiling. And we'll go back and forth just 2 more times. And then we'll switch sides. When you rotate towards that front leg, you should feel that in the outer hip. When you sink that left shoulder inside of that, in front of that left leg, you should feel it more inner thigh. Okay. If you haven't switched sides, you can switch sides now. Pick up that left knee, rotate the chest towards the right front leg, reach for the ceiling, look at your thumb so that you feel the stretch in your neck as well. Lower the right shoulder inside that right leg, look away from the front leg and then back towards. Okay, you should feel this hips maybe a little bit the back. And if you're rotating your head enough, you might feel it in the neck as well. All right, we're gonna get back into that tabletop position. And from here, we're doing our first of 2 activations. Activations is just another word for like a static hold to engage the muscle for when we start doing more aggressive, more athletic movements a little bit later on. So we're gonna get started with a bird dog. So you're gonna extend the right arm in front of you and then that left foot. That left foot, you're reaching to the wall behind you with your heel, not the toes pointed like a ballerina, but you're reaching for the back wall with your heel, okay? And then you're reaching for the front wall with your fingertips or a fist and hold. Starting now, we're gonna hold this. You're gonna look straight down so that you're not straining your neck. You might feel a stretch at the bottom of the neck. And we're just gonna hold this for about 15 more seconds. If you're a little wobbly, that's okay. That's just something for you to work on. You should feel this in your left glute, right shoulder, maybe a little bit in the trunk, just for 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and now switching sides. 3, 2, 1. All right, good. Looking straight down. Again, you might feel a little bit of a stretch in the neck. You're thinking, trying to make your body as long as possible, reaching for the back wall with your foot and the front wall with your hands, looking straight down. Okay, excellent. Just gonna hold this for about 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and time. Back in that tabletop position. You're gonna push through the hands and the toes, picking up the knees about 1 inch or 2 off of the ground. Again, looking straight down at the ground. Starting now, we're gonna do 25 seconds. Okay, engaging the shoulders, keeping the back flat. You're gonna feel this a little bit in the core. Okay, you're getting a little bit of a stretch in the Achilles, which may feel nice for some of you, especially after, I don't know how many people did the speed workout. I know we were off, but I don't know if you were able to find a treadmill or something. Okay, and time. So now we're gonna commencing our plyos and core portion of the class. Plyos is just a fancy word for jumping. So I always like to include a little bit of jumping, work on some explosive stuff. We're obviously training for a marathon, obviously very slow, steady, but want to incorporate some still athleticism. We're still athletes. So we're gonna get started with our first round of jumping. We have 2 options. We have a slightly easier version, slightly harder version. Easier version, jump squats. We're gonna go 20 seconds. Slightly harder version is tuck jumps, okay? So jumping up, knees to your chest, keeping the trunk upright, okay? So you're not folding in half like this. You're jumping up, looking straight ahead, knees to your chest, and then you can pause for a second or half a second in between each jump. Okay, we're gonna go for 20 seconds in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so going tuck jumps. Excellent, we're just gonna go for 5 more seconds. Okay, you got jump squats or you got tuck jumps. If you start off with jump squats, maybe you wanna do tuck jumps the next round. And time. All right, this is always the hardest part of class. Now we're gonna get back down onto the mat. We're gonna get into a hollow hold position. If you're not familiar with a hollow hold position, you're gonna lie on your back, pick up both legs together. The knees are gonna be straight. You're gonna reach for your toes. The shoulder blades are off of the mat, and you're gonna hold that position for 20 seconds starting now. The clock is running, don't worry. Breathe. To make it a little bit, if it gets too challenging, you just bend your knees a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit easier. Okay, we're just gonna hold that for 3 more seconds. 2, 1, time, and now we're back up. We got 1 more round of each, and then we're gonna go 2 more rounds of 2 other exercises. Ready? If you did jump squats last round and that felt kind of easy, we'll do tuck jumps, okay? In 3, 2, 1, go. you've ever seen sprinters like Usain Bolt, Noah Lyles, they're always doing this right before their race, right? They're getting those fast twitch muscles to get ready to run and jump, right? Okay, 3 more seconds, 2, 1, time. All right, now we're going back down onto the mat. If this hollow hold felt a little easy for you, need a little bit more of a challenge, you can grab your weight horizontally and you're gonna hold it up in front of you. Only if it felt easy. If it felt hard, stay with it, okay? 3, 2, 1, we're just gonna go for 20 seconds. All right, nice. And breathe. Okay, we're just gonna go for 10 more seconds. And then we're gonna go 2 rounds of 2 other exercises, another jump, another core. 3, 2, 1, time. All right, this next one, we're gonna go single leg now, single leg jump. We're gonna go 15 seconds. Just little, you can have your hands on your hips. Slight jump. If it feels a little bit easy, just go a little bit higher. All right, and 3, 2, 1, go. So I like this. This is actually a PT test to see if there's like a stress fracture or anything wrong. So if this becomes too difficult, too unbearable, now then you know I need to see a PT ASAP. All right, so this is a good test. Everyone should be able to do this for 15 seconds. All right, and switch. All right. And again, if it feels easy for you, just go a little bit higher. Okay? In 3, 2, 1, and time. Now we're going back down onto the mat. We're going to do some mountain climbers. All right, we're just going to go 20 seconds. Okay, you don't need to go particularly fast. Better with form. You're going to push away from the mat as much as possible. Okay, so almost like your shoulders are rounded, and then doesn't need to be very fast. Starting now. Okay, I'd rather you go a little bit more controlled than you go super fast and then you don't feel anything. Nice and controlled. Just gonna go for 5 more seconds. Then we're gonna do 1 more round of each, and then a very, very short water break. And time. 1 more round of each, then a quick 10, 15-second water break, and then we'll get into the meat of the workout. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, single leg hops. All right. Just gonna go for 5 more seconds. All right, careful, you're about to be on snap. And time, and switch. All right. Sometimes I see people struggle with the balance of this part, which amazes me. I don't know how you run a marathon if you can't balance. This is good for balance and coordination. All right, and time. Back down for the mountain climbers, and then we'll take a very, very brief break for some water. In 3, 2, 1, and go. Just 20 seconds, controlled. Keep the hips below the shoulders. All right, so your back is pretty parallel to the mat. We're just gonna go for about 5 more seconds. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, time. All right, we're gonna take about 30-second rest. Grab some water if you need. The other exercises are gonna be a little bit slower, not as high paced, okay? All right, maybe it'll be 45 seconds, not 30. But since you guys are here, you have to find out what the exercises are before they do. So we're gonna start off with a goblet squat. So your feet are gonna be about shoulder width apart, very ever so slightly pointed out. You're gonna hold the 1 dumbbell either horizontally or vertically, doesn't really matter, whatever feels more comfortable. You're gonna sink down into your hips as low as possible, getting the elbows inside of the knees, okay, in here. And then as you come up, you're gonna press the weight, okay? If you have 2 dumbbells that are the same weight, and if you feel comfortable enough, you can hold them here, okay, right in front of your shoulders, and then do both, okay? If you've been to other gyms, they're called thrusters, but yes, we're gonna aim for that movement exactly. So we're gonna cycle through 3 different movements. Each one we're gonna do for 25 seconds continuously, just because if I give a number, some people might get a bigger workout than the other. So if it's easier for you, just speed it up a little bit. You'll get the same workout as someone else that does 6 repetitions maybe and goes a little bit slower. So the first one's gonna be a goblet squat and press. Second one is gonna be an RDL, okay? You can grab it with one hand and the opposite hand as the standing leg. You're gonna hinge forward. This one can be a little bit challenging, so I'm gonna make sure everyone does it correctly because some people feel it in their back instead of their hamstring when they do the single leg RDL. And then the last one we're gonna do is just a bent over row, where you're just gonna have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. You're gonna rest one arm in front of on that front knee, and then you're just gonna bring the weight into your armpit, elbow to the ceiling, and then straight back down, controlling it. Okay, again, we're gonna go 25 seconds of each, starting in 3, 2, 1. We're doing the goblet squat and the press. Okay, at your own pace. If this feels relatively easy, then just go a little bit faster. It's still going to be 25 seconds for everyone. So if you're going faster, you might get in 15, 20 reps, which then will be a lot. If you're going a little bit slower, that's okay. We're just going to go for about 3 more seconds. 2, 1, and time. Now we're going to switch into a straight leg RDL. So we're going to stand on the left leg first, hold the weight in the right hand. Very slight bend in the knee of that left leg. And then you're gonna bend forward from the hips, keeping the elbow straight. Keep that shoulder engaged so that the spine does not round. Okay, we're gonna be here just past the left knee. Raise that opposite leg high enough so that you feel it in the hamstring. Starting now. Okay, good, great, and back up. Okay, again, you're going at your own pace. Okay, we've already started the timer. If you feel this in your low back, make eyes with me or raise your hand and we can problem solve. But as a general rule, if you feel it in your low back, lift up that back leg a little bit higher, and then that should help focus the energy to the hamstring instead of the low back. Okay, we can switch sides now. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, and go. All right. So again, you should be feeling this behind the leg, just underneath the glute. Okay, we're just gonna go for 10 more seconds. I like this for ankle stability as well. So we're working a little bit the foot, but primarily the hamstring. Okay, we're just gonna go for 2 more seconds. And time. And the last one we're gonna do is the bent over row. Left foot forward, right foot back. You can rest that left arm right above the knee. Okay, and then chest is parallel to the floor. Bring the weight into your armpit. 3, 2, 1, 25 seconds. Again, if you pick up the pace, you're gonna do a lot more rows than the person going slow, so it's at your pace, okay? Just gonna go for about 10 more seconds. Great. Okay, you can switch sides now. In 3, 2, 1, and go. Right after this one, we're gonna go right back to the top. We're gonna go 3 more rounds of these 3 exercises, then take a small water break. Then we'll do 4 rounds of 3 other exercises. Okay, we're just gonna go for about 5 more seconds. And time. Okay, we'll take a 5-second rest. 3, 2, 1. Oh, she's on it. I love it. All right, goblet squats. 3, 2, 1. All right, we'll take a slightly longer break after the 3rd round. We'll take like a 10 or 15-second rest, just enough for you to get some water from your canteen or thermos that's by your side. And then at the end of the 4 rounds, we'll take a slightly longer breaks for you to get water from the outside if you need to refill. All right? Great. We're just gonna go for a few more seconds here. 2, 1, time. Back to the single leg RDL. Okay, I like the goblet squat also for mobility and helping you get into a deeper range of motion. All right, this next one is gonna be more for the back of the legs. Okay? Starting from the foot, right? A little bit of balance. You might start to lose your balance a little bit as you lean forward. That's normal. Okay, so from the foot to the calf to the hamstring. Okay, you making sure that the shoulder that's holding the weight is engaged the whole time. Okay, now switch sides. 3, 2, 1. If the weight starts to feel a little bit too heavy in that one hand, then you can always hold it in 2 hands. Okay? Not everything is always a progression. If you bite off a little bit more than you can chew, don't feel like you have to continue. You can always dial it back a little bit because, again, the goal is to get you to the starting line healthy and strong, not getting hurt in here. That's the last thing I want. Okay? Nice. Again, if anyone is feeling this in their low back, please make eye contact with me or raise your hand and we'll problem solve. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, back to the bent over rows. 3, 2, 1. Great. Okay, everyone's looking good with these. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, switching sides. All right. And we're off. Okay, you should be feeling this in the tricep, back of the shoulder. Okay, maybe a little bit in the core if it's a heavy weight. Okay, we're just gonna go for about 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right. Maybe we'll take a 5-second, 10-second water break right here. Okay, maybe do a little back bend if you need. Reach to one side, the other side. Do a little twist. Do some neck rolls. All right. Okay, starting from the top with the goblet squats. We got 2 more rounds of each, and then we'll take another slightly longer break than this one. In 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, excellent. Keeping the chest up the whole time, looking straight ahead. All right, 10 more seconds. 5 more. And time. Now we're switching to single leg RDLs again. 3, 2, 1. Again, if it feels too heavy in that one hand, you can hold it in 2. Okay? The goal is to lift that opposite leg about to 90 degrees. Okay? Just gonna go for 5 more seconds. Good. If you focus on anchoring the big toe of the standing leg, that should help you balance a little bit better. Now we're switching sides. So we're switching weights to the opposite hand. Going for another 25 seconds starting now. All right. In keeping with the theme of the whole program, if you haven't already noticed, a theme with the music, all hip hop. All right. Good, excellent. Just gonna go for 5 more seconds here. And then we'll continue with the bent over rows. right, and time. Now we're going over to the bent over rows. Catch your breath. In 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, right after these two, um, these last two sets of the bent over rows, I'll take a very, very brief pause if you need to adjust your weights. Okay, if you need something a little heavier or a little bit lighter, just for this, for the last round. All right, right after we do these, we just have one more round. Okay, and now switching sides. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, excellent. So try and have both shoulders facing the floor. Excellent. You got it. We're just gonna go for about 5 more seconds here. And then again, we're gonna take a brief pause just in case anyone needs to adjust their weights. And time. Okay, we'll take a little short 15-second rest just for you to adjust your weights or grab a sip of water. Okay, we got one more round of each of these. And then, yeah, I don't know why. Not as bad as the first week, I will say that. Day one, it was much hotter in here. Okay. All right, we're about to start our fourth and final set of this little circuit, starting with the goblet squats. All right, in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Again, vertically or horizontally, whichever one feels more comfortable. Okay, always keeping the chest up, not looking down at the ground. That's the hinge. That's for the single leg RDL. For the squats, you're keeping the chest up, looking straight in front of you as you get as low as possible. Okay, we're just gonna go for 3 more seconds here. And time, switching to the single leg RDL. In 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, really think about the big toe. That's gonna help you stay a little bit more balanced. Okay. Good. Excellent. Remember always to squeeze that shoulder blade a little bit so it stays here and you're not, so it should never feel like the weight is pulling you to the ground. Okay, you're lowering the weight to the ground, but you're in charge of the weight. Okay, don't let the weight boss you around. Okay, switching sides. Always be in control of the weight. Don't let the weight control you. All right, 3, 2, 1. Last round of the single leg RDLs. And then we'll continue with the last round of the bent over rows. Take a brief pause. Okay. If it's harder for you to control the weight when it's a little bit lower, you don't need to sink as low. Okay. What's more important is sticking up that opposite leg high. Okay. That's part of the exercise. All right. And switching over to the bent over rows. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Let's get it. Okay, bringing the weight into the armpit, elbow to the ceiling. Okay, you're in control of the weight. Okay, just 5 more seconds here. And switching sides for the last time of the bent over rows in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're just gonna go for about 5 more seconds. And time. All right, so for this, these next three exercises, there's actually no weight involved. It's body weight. Okay, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be easy. Okay, we're going to start with a long sit, straight leg raise. Okay, long sit is sitting with the knees straight. You're going to have the weight on one side of the leg. You can have your hands behind you a little bit. We're going to pick up the leg and go over the weight. Okay, so it's going to go over and back, over and back. Okay, the further back you're leaning, the easier it's going to be to pick up the leg. The more 90 degrees you are, the harder it's going to be. Okay, so we're going to go for 25 seconds in 3, 2, 1. So if it feels like you're going to cramp, just start to lean back a little bit and it should help. But this is working those hip flexors with the knees straight. Okay, you're just going to go for 10 more seconds and then we're switching sides. You might feel that inner thigh working as well. Very important to work. Okay, and then switching sides now to the other leg. In 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, might feel like you're about to cramp, that's okay. This next exercise, which is also body weight, will help to relieve some of that tightness that you start to feel after this exercise. Okay, we're just gonna go for 3 more seconds. And time. So now we're gonna get into a kneeling position. I don't know how many people are familiar with the Nordic curls or the reverse Nordics. We're gonna do the reverse Nordics. Okay, if you struggled with the toe sits, this one might be a little bit challenging. We're gonna, from this tall kneeling position, you can cross your arms, and then we're just gonna lean back as far as feels comfortable, and then you're just gonna hold for a second or two and then come back. You might feel a little bit of a stretch in the front of the hips. We're gonna go for 25 seconds, starting now. Okay, if you don't feel very comfortable going that far, you don't need to go very far, just far enough. Okay, don't think about having to go all the way far back. You're just going as far as feels comfortable. Hold it for a second or two, and then come back. Either for your quads, you might feel the stretch in your front of your hips. Whatever feels more comfortable for you. Okay? No, so you don't want to arch your back. You want to tighten up the core and then go back from here. Okay? What I would recommend is don't go as far back. Okay? And time. The next one we're going to do, we'll problem solve for the next round. Okay? Next one, from a tall plank position, that's almost like a push-up position. You're gonna place one foot, but you're gonna bring one foot, the left foot, a little bit closer to you, and then the right foot is gonna be behind the ankle. And then from here, we're gonna do a heel raise. So you're gonna pick up the heel as high as you can, and then drop it back down. So kind of like we did with the downward dog, bending the knee, straighten the knee. We're gonna place one foot over the ankle of the other, and then raise that heel as high as possible. Starting now, we're gonna go for 25 seconds. So it's always important to strengthen the calves, obviously, and given our space and equipment limitations, I have to be a little bit creative. We did the static lunge heel raise last week, and the week before we did a staggered stance, leaning backwards, raising the heel. So this is just another variation of another calf exercise. Now we can switch sides. 3, 2, 1. We're also working the arms and shoulders a little bit, maybe a little bit the core. Okay? So you're, don't bend and straighten the knee, bend and straighten the calf. So the calf gets lower to the mat and then high off the mat as high as possible. The heel gets close to the mat and then high off of the mat. And time. That was the first round. We're just gonna go 3 more rounds and then we're gonna start to wrap it up. Okay? So again, from that L sit position. So Sitting as close to 90 degrees, as much as feels comfortable. The more you do this exercise, the easier it gets. In 3, 2, 1. Up and over the weight. And back. Pointing the toes towards you. Okay, you're gonna feel that inner quads. And if you need to lean back a little bit, that's okay. Okay, we're gonna go for 3 more seconds. And time and switching sides. 3, 2, 1. Again, lean back if you need to. Okay, just 10 more seconds. And then we're gonna practice the Nordics again. Nordics are one of my favorites. All right, and time. Generally, I like to start people holding onto a band that they can, for safety, just in case they get stuck. But since we don't have that, we're gonna play it a little bit safe. And you're just gonna go as far back as feels comfortable, hold it for a second or two, and then come back forward. Okay, in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, we're not arching. Tighten up the core a little bit, and then just go back a little bit. Okay. Do you still feel it in the back? Okay. Tuck the chin forward. More like that. Do you still feel it there? There. Yeah. Do you feel it in here? No? Okay. All right. So you can take a break from this. I don't want you to feel more injured from that one. Okay. And time. Last one, the tall plank heel raise. I'm sorry? In 3, 2, 1. Okay, from that tall plank position, almost like you're gonna do some push-ups. Then you're gonna cross one leg over the opposite ankle. The heel gets close to the mat. The heel gets away from the mat. Yes, bingo, that's it. Excellent. Okay, the heel comes up high off of the mat. The heel gets close to the mat. Okay, as the heel gets closer to the mat, you should start to feel a little bit of a stretch. And now switching sides to the opposite leg in 3, 2, 1. After this one, we just have 2 more rounds. So that's just 6 more exercises, and then we'll start to wrap it up a little bit. Excellent. All right. Everyone's got this one down pat. Excellent. There you go. That's much better than the last one. Yeah. Yeah, you were using the knees and the hips. Okay, and time. All right, let's take a 10-second water break. What you can practice when we're doing the Nordics, what you can practice are some cat camels. Are you familiar with cat camels or cat cows? Yeah, okay. All right. Last round of the straight leg raises. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, just gonna go for 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Time and switching sides now. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Great. Again, if you're struggling to pick up the leg, just lean back a little bit and it'll be much easier to pick up the leg. Okay, you'll still feel it in the hip and the inner thigh. Okay, just gonna go for 5 more seconds here. Excellent. And time. Last round of the Nordics. So if you think about the Nordics, it's kind of like when we're doing this stretch right here, same idea. You're feeling that stretch in the front of the hip. Okay, so we're gonna go for 25 seconds starting now. This is an eccentric exercise, so that means deceleration, controlling the elongation of the muscle, and then bringing it back. Very important for injury prevention and injury recovery if you have any sort of tendon pain in the knee or the hip. Great exercise. Okay, and you don't need to go very far. If you can't go very far, just practice on holding it, controlling it, and then coming back. Yep. Okay, and now last tall plank heel raise. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, with the reverse Nordics, it should get a little bit easier each round. Okay, 5 more seconds here. Okay, and now switching sides. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you want to make sure you're pushing through the big toe. You should feel a little bit of a stretch in that big toe. Make sure that the big toe is really working and not so much the other 4 smaller toes. If the other 4 smaller toes are working harder to pick up the heel, then likely the knee is pointing out. We want to make sure that the knee is pointing in and going straight. And time. Okay, we're going to take another 5-10 seconds here for this last round, and then we'll start to calm down. I like to end each class playing some meditative music, and we just zone out for about 3 minutes. Some people like to lie on their back, rest their legs up against the wall, crisscross applesauce, just lie on your back, whichever position is most comfortable for you. That we're going to do after this last round, okay? In 3, 2, 1, we got the last round of the straight leg raises. Okay, you should really be feeling that inner quad working. The smallest muscle of the quad, often overlooked. If you have inner knee pain, this is a great exercise to start off with if you don't have any equipment with you. Okay, we can switch sides now. There's plenty of other exercises that you can do with a step or a cable column or a barbell, but we're trying to be a little creative with what we have here. Okay. So if you're on vacation at some point during this whole block and you don't have a ton of equipment at your disposal, hopefully you've learned something in one of these classes where, oh, I can still get some work in and work on certain muscle groups, even if I don't have a lot of equipment. Okay, from here, we're doing the last round of the reverse Nordics. Okay, again, if you haven't already felt it, haven't guessed it, really focusing on the quads. And again, I like it a lot for mobility as well. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. So one way to progress this is just to go a little bit further back. Another way to progress it is you just hold a light weight, and then you don't have to go as far back, but you can just practice on holding it and coming back. So there's a few different ways that you can progress this exercise. Holding a light weight in front of you or going further back. Okay, and time. Now we got the last round of the tall plank heel raises. Okay, we're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the calves are the workhorse for the marathoner. Our knees don't come very high unless you're running well below 3 hours, then the knees coming up a little bit higher. Okay, but if we're running a little bit closer to 4 and above, the knee is not coming up so high. Most of the work is going to be in the calves. Okay, okay, we're going to switch sides now. 3, 2, 1, last round, last leg. Okay, most of the most common injuries are Achilles injuries, plantar fasciitis. Um, so I always like to pay special attention to foot and ankle exercises to make sure those never hinder you and during these remaining 13 and a half weeks. Okay, and time. All right, so as I said earlier, you can place your weights off to the side. You're gonna get in a comfortable position. Okay, whether you want to rest your back or your legs up against the wall or lie on your back. Okay, hopefully you didn't have too much of a stressful week or day with all this, everything that's gone on this week. I like to spend a little time and acknowledge everything that you've done so far. Forget about all the stresses and just focus on relaxing. All right, you guys can slowly begin to open up your eyes. So this concludes our class for tonight. I hope you guys took something away from it. If there's anything that pops up in the remaining 13 weeks, an injury, an ache, a pain, a tightness, any question that you have regarding strength training or marathon in general, I believe my contact is in the emails. If not, my handle is Dynamo D on Instagram, or you can find me after class and I can give you exchange my contact info. Yeah, I wish you all the best. I'm going to be here every Thursday except for one in September, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll continue to be here. And if I'm not mistaken, also, these classes are recorded and there's a library. And I'm not sure yet if that includes the years past, but for sure this season. Yeah. Do you have anything more? No? Okay. There used to be wipes in the back. Are there still wipes? Oh, okay. Great. Thank you. Yeah, we're all done. So if you don't mind just putting the weights back, and then there will be wipes so that, yeah. Thank you guys so much.